I need to tell you something crazy. The night I hit $1 million, I didn't sleep. Not because I was excited, because I was terrified. 2 a.m., sitting on the edge of my bed, doing math like my life depended on it. I was convinced I messed up, convinced the number was a mistake, convinced someone was going to call in the morning and take it back. No one called. The number was real, and I felt worse. If you've ever hit a huge goal and felt nothing, or worse, felt fear, watch this, because I'm about to tell you why that happens, and it's not what you think.
Here's the thing nobody tells you. The finish line moved. For 100 years, millionaire meant untouchable, bulletproof, a different species. Your grandfather heard that word and thought yachts, private islands, guys lighting cigars with $100 bills. That image is burned into all of us. That image is also a corpse. It's been dead for decades. We just didn't bury it. Do the math? It's disturbing. $1 million today? It buys what $514,000 bought in the year 2000, 26 years ago. Think about that. You can buy roughly half as much stuff with that same pile of money. Go back to 1980, before your parents even knew what they wanted to be. That million is worth $246,000. You read that right. The number got hollowed out while you were still running toward it. And here's the part that hurts. Ask Americans right now in 2026 what it takes to feel wealthy. The answer isn't $1 million. It's $2.3 million. $2.3 million. So if you cross $1 million right now, congratulations, you just reached a finish line that moved in the dark, and you're not even halfway to the new one. You won the wrong race, and nobody told you.
Sit with this next part, because this broke something in me, and I need you to understand why I was still awake at 3 a.m. There's a rule, the 4% rule. It's how you turn a pile of money into an actual life. You take 4% of your portfolio in year 1. You adjust it for inflation every year after. And historically, that gives you a very, very good chance of not running out of money over 30 years of retirement. Simple, clean, elegant. 4% of $1 million? That's $40,000 a year. $40,000. Some say the math has gotten tighter. You can maybe push it to $47K if you're lucky. Others say the markets are so expensive that it's honestly closer to $37K. Let's be generous. Split the difference. Call it $45,000. $45,000. You bled for that number. 15 years of saying no to vacations, watching friends take trips while you stayed home and saved, missed birthdays because you were grinding, sacrificed weekends, holidays, years of your life you don't get back, and it produces a mid-level office manager's paycheck. Not a yacht, not private schools for your kids, not freedom, a regular paycheck. The same thing a competent middle manager makes while working for someone else, complaining in a conference call about quarterly targets. And that paycheck, it already has debts against it. A couple retiring today, right now in 2026, the healthcare estimate for the rest of their lives is $345,000 before long-term care, before the assisted living facility, before the medical emergency at 74 that costs $40,000 out of nowhere. A future version of you, worse knees, creakier back, pill organizer on the counter, already spent a chunk of that million, and you haven't even gotten there yet. Here's the truth that kept me up that night. Crossing the line doesn't make the fear go away. It just changes its name. It stops being, "What if I never have enough?" and becomes, "What if I lose the only thing I built?" That second fear is worse. Nobody tells you it's worse. Nobody warns you that the anxiety doesn't leave. It just gets a promotion.
Here's where it gets cruel. Being worth $1 million and having $1 million, they are not the same thing, not even close. For most people who actually hit this milestone, the bulk is locked in two places: the house you live in and retirement accounts you can't touch until you're old enough to qualify. You can't spend a house. I know that sounds obvious, but sit with the reality of it. You can sell it, then you need somewhere else to live, which costs money. More money probably than you think, because you just triggered capital gains taxes on the appreciation, and the real estate market is, well, you know. And pulling from a 401k before 59 and a half, the penalties and taxes carve it up like it's made of butter. You lose 30–40% just for the crime of needing the money you saved. Picture this scenario because it's real. You're a millionaire on paper. Tuesday morning, your water heater explodes, flooding the basement. $8,000 repair, and you have to stop and think about whether you can actually access money without destroying it through taxes and penalties. That's not a hypothetical. That's the real, humiliating reality for a lot of people who hit this number. Zoom out to the whole country for a second. Median American household net worth, $193,000. Sounds okay. Now strip out the equity in the house. Just take away the roof over their heads. That median net worth collapses to $58,000. $58,000. Most people's wealth is a house they're trapped inside of, a gold mine they're not allowed to enter, a theoretical fortune sitting on a foundation and in a wall. And if the real estate market hiccups, if your neighborhood takes a hit, that wealth evaporates. You're still paying the property tax, still making the repairs, still locked inside it.
It gets worse. There's a partner sitting on your account, waiting. You never agreed to bring them on. They never asked permission. They just showed up and claimed a stake. If your million is in a pre-tax account, which it is for most people, it was never fully yours. Every single dollar has income tax attached. It hasn't been collected yet, but it's coming. It's inevitable. It's baked into the math like gravity. When it comes out, it's taxed as regular income, federal, state, local sometimes. You pull out $40,000 a year to live on. That $40,000 gets taxed like you earned it working a job. Run the actual numbers. That $1 million in your pre-tax account, it shrinks to about $700,000 in your actual hand. Spendable dollars. $300,000 just gone to someone who never earned it, never risked it, never believed in you. This partner put in nothing, sat through none of your bad years, never asked how you were doing, never celebrated when the market went up, still gets a cut. And they're not patient. Hit 73, RMD rule kicks in. Required minimum distribution, forced withdrawals every single year, whether the market is up or down, whether you need the money or not, specifically so the government can finally tax it. On a $1 million balance, first forced withdrawal is roughly $37,700, dragged into the light on their schedule, not yours. You spent 30 years building this. The night you arrived, the fine print showed up. The statement said $1 million. It looked clean. It looked whole. It looked like the finish line. But the fine print was there the entire time, invisible, waiting, like a ghost that doesn't haunt you until you move into the house.
Now here's the part that messes with your head. Actual millionaires? Actual people who hit this number? Almost never the people you'd guess. Not hedge fund guys, not crypto founders, not influencers, not entrepreneurs who disrupted some industry. Teachers, engineers, accountants, managers, people with completely normal jobs. Most never earned 6 figures in a typical year. Most never got a huge inheritance. Most never had venture capital backing. They just did one thing for 30 years, saved consistently, invested in boring index funds, and left it alone. That's it. That's the secret. And it's the most unglamorous secret in the world. Meanwhile, think about the person you're actually envious of, the one whose life makes you feel behind. New car every 2 years, the latest one, vacations flooding your feed, that watch, the one that costs more than your car, the vacation home updates, the restaurants you can't afford. Statistically, they are drowning. One missed paycheck from collapse, carrying debt to fund the image, not the net worth, the image. The watch is financed, the car is leased, the vacations went on a credit card that's still not paid off. The restaurants? They eat out 6 nights a week and haven't saved anything in years. You've been comparing your real life, your actual net worth, your actual financial security, to a fake highlight reel. It's been eating you alive for no reason. And the cruelest part? While you were feeling behind looking at them, they were looking at someone else. Same game, different player. Infinite sadness on an infinite scroll.
Building wealth is brutal at the start. Almost everyone quits right before it would have worked. And I need you to understand why, because this is where the real story happens. In the early years, the growth is so slow it's almost invisible. You save $500 a month for 6 months, $3,000. You're thinking, this is taking forever. I'm never going to get there. You save for a year, $6,000. A year and a half, $9,000. It feels like you're pushing a boulder up a mountain with your bare hands. You feel like you're failing. The progress is real, but it doesn't feel real. Numbers on a screen don't feel like progress. Progress is supposed to feel big. Then, quietly, and this is the part most people miss, something shifts. The growth outpaces what you're putting in. The money you saved starts working harder than your job. The boulder reaches the top of the hill. It stops needing you to push so hard. It starts rolling on its own. Almost everyone quits right before that happens. Not because they're weak, not because they're dumb, because the doubt gets loud enough to win. The voice that says, this isn't working. Maybe I should try something else. Maybe I'm not built for this. And it sounds so reasonable at the time. The second sabotage is panic. This is the one that keeps people poor even when they start to build something. The research on this is almost embarrassingly consistent. The average investor earns way less than the funds they're invested in, not because the funds are bad, because they buy high, sell low, panic sell in a crash. They can't stop touching it. They can't stop checking it. They can't stop doing something. The hardest thing to do with money? Nothing. Doing absolutely nothing on purpose while your gut screams at you that the world is ending. That's the actual skill. Nobody tells you how much it costs to sit still.
But the people who do it, who can watch their portfolio drop 20% and not sell, who can ignore the news and just keep contributing, those people are the ones who end up here, at the finish line. And they're shocked to find it doesn't feel like anything. I know some of you are furious right now. Nick, $1 million is still $1 million. Most people never get close. Don't take this away from me. You're right. I'm not taking it away. Top 10 to 15% of households in America. That is real, that is earned, that is an actual achievement. But here's the gut punch that nobody warned me about. To reach the tier you picture when you say rich, the real top 1%, the people living the actual fantasy, you need to multiply that number by 10. By 10. 10 million. The gap between broke and $1 million? Huge, enormous, generational difference. The gap between $1 million and 10 million? A canyon, a chasm, a different universe. Almost nobody crosses it. Not because they don't want to, but because the second set of rules is different. The psychology is different. The opportunities are different. And one more sting if you're doing this for your kids, if your motivation is leaving something behind. $1 million is not generational wealth. It's barely one generation's worth. Taxes, health care, living off it for 30 years. What's usually left at the end? A paid-off house, and whatever didn't get spent. That's a real gift. I'm not knocking it. It's not nothing. But the fantasy where you hit $1 million and your grandkids are set for life forever, that was never $1 million fantasy. That number starts a couple of zeros further down the road, and that's an uncomfortable thing to learn after you've already run the race.
Here's what I finally figured out at 3 a.m. Still awake, still doing math, still terrified. Your sense of enough isn't fixed. It's not a finish line. It's not a destination. It's a moving target. It's a treadmill. It reattaches to wherever you're standing instantly. When I made $40,000, $100,000 felt like everything. The second I hit $100,000, I resented people making $250,000. When I got to $250,000, I started noticing the people making $500,000. $500,000? Suddenly, there were people with $1 million. There has never been a number, ever, where my brain said, okay, we're done. Relax now. You made it. It won't be there for you either. The 92% of millionaires who don't feel wealthy, they aren't lying. They aren't ungrateful. They aren't broken. They're just standing where you'd be standing, at a number that used to be the dream. Discovering the goalpost crawled farther out while they weren't looking. Chasing a bigger number doesn't fix this. It just moves you to a higher floor on the same treadmill, with the same brain, doing the same thing, running faster, sweating harder, never arriving. This is the trap, and almost nobody escapes it. So here's where I landed. After that night, after the panic, after I finally slept. The milestone is real. Paying off a house, never doing the terrifying math at 2 a.m. wondering if you have enough, having an actual income for life, not being destroyed by a medical emergency. That is enormous. I'm not telling you not to want it, but the number itself, the number was never going to give you the feeling. It can't. It wasn't built to. The feeling you're chasing, that I made it feeling, it has to come from somewhere else, from understanding how the machine works, from deciding right now, not later, what enough actually means for you. Because if you don't decide that in advance, your brain will decide it for you. The second you arrive, and it will move the line again before you even get to enjoy where you are. That's the whole game. That's what nobody tells you. The real finish line isn't the number.
The real finish line is deciding to get off the treadmill. And most people never do.
If this hit different, that's the point. I built a community around this stuff, the real psychology of money, not the fantasy version. How to understand the machine so you're not just running blindly. Link is in the description if that interests you. And if you want to know what actually changes on the other side of this milestone, the practical stuff nobody talks about, I made a full breakdown on that too, right there on screen. Go watch that next. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This is education, not advice. What you do with your money is on you. See you in the next one.